Mirage, as we're going live right now.
Let's get into it, folks, and see what Oxygen can get done on the offensive side of Clubhouse. The ban should be fairly straightforward as it is Club. We are also very used to this map, especially inside of North America, and we welcome it in for the very first time here in Stage 1. Funny enough, I mean, we got a lot of different maps before we got down to just playing Oregon in Clubhouse.
Yeah, absolutely the case here. Definitely another map that we've seen a lot of teams bring in, and this is one of the benefits of expanding our map pool all the way out to 9 maps, is the fact that we're not going to see some of those more common ones like Clubhouse. Oregon's a bit of an exception today, of course, but we're not going to see those maps repeat themselves so often, so get a bit more variety into play. Speaking of variety, we've got our operators still getting banned out here, and there is quite a bit of variety in that department. Hibana was the second operator to be eliminated. She's still far too useful in terms of a hard breacher, and this is the map where hard breachers are so important to success on nearly every single site. Mira making perfect sense as well for pretty much the same reason, just too many useful positions to put down those mirrors and get the intel in, and this is going to be an interesting one. Goyo getting knocked out, but makes perfect sense due to the kind of, I guess you call it a horizontal change we saw to his ability in the most recent patch.
Yeah, I would definitely say that it was more of a lateral move for him, mostly because he's just played in a different way now. You don't try and play around the Goyo utility. It's more used for denial than anything. You're not going to be sitting there trying to use it to block bullets or anything like that, like you did with deployable shield. So it's more of a set and forget kind of thing, and you just use it when you can once those executions start coming in, or you're trying to prevent some space from being taken by the offense. But either way, it's fantastic utility. You and I saw it inside of the last game. You guys have seen it throughout the season so far, and its delay capability especially is just insane. Each one of those canisters able to stay up and out for 20 seconds, so it's actually insane the amount of time that you can get out of these things.
And it's interesting for the defensive meta overall as it continues to build on kind of a new class of operators we've started to see get built up over the last year or two, kind of these delay operators, which, you know, you look back 2 years ago or so, and that pretty much was exclusively Smoke's job, and maybe a few other operators able to help out in kind of the trap department, but he was pretty much the delay operator for the foreseeable future. That is, of course, until we saw the Tachanka changes come in, where now he has the incendiaries to delay things, and we're seeing a very similar role be fulfilled by the new Goyo changes as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I would say it would definitely be him. I could say you could kind of toss Echo in there as well, but that's kind of a lesser point in that same breath. But, I mean, really the one to talk about in that is when Malusi got added. That's really when we started to see a lot of the, you know, more slowing of the execution type of operators. So either way, though, we're about 30 seconds in now, guys, and it is going to be a basement defense here on Clubhouse, so it's going to take some time for Oxygen to clear things out and start getting towards these hatches. It's not going to be an extended hold for Mirage. They're going to be turtling downstairs for the time being.
So let's go ahead and see what exactly we're going to end up looking at here as Razor ends up still on the first floor, roaming himself around here.
Oh.
And on top of that, looking like he's going to commit himself to some second floor pressure as well. So Razor will have to fend off, unfortunately. A whole horde of drones, meaning that second floor presence is going to stay pretty much non-existent. Can't really stay there, unfortunately, due to him being sussed out far too quickly, as well as the fact that we have 2 other members of Oxygen already inside of that area of the map looking to drone him out. So a smart decision, more than likely made here by Razor, to fall back and just try to play a little bit more aggro up from the bottom of those main stairs.
Yeah, still going for the gamble, but it's not going to fall on either side of the fence. So easy drone here for Razor, won't even recommit to getting the door set up here. Instead, just falls back into the site and chooses to wait for Oxygen's next move. In the meanwhile, Oxygen is making that. Torching open the hatch right now is Foxay inside his stock, with the rest of Oxygen winding the gears, seeing what else they need to get done, especially around this kitchen area. Just not too much done just yet, as Vertical is actually going to start working on the kitchen floor. This is going to be a beautiful setup for them. This is going to be a lot of prevention over towards the armory area.
Still seeing Foxay and a few of the other members of Oxygen work on getting these hatches open. No success in the kitchen hatch just yet, but that may not necessarily be needed here in a long-run position. Marmalade, though, lining up the Nitro as we see multiple members of Mirage trying to distract him by sprinting up the main stair. It works out brilliantly as it sets up for the first kill against Vertical, knocking him down. We're going to see these nades getting chucked in over towards Blue Room as well, but it won't find much success, just dealing with a few pieces of utility, mainly that deployable shield. Benji still maintains his position behind the AC unit here in the Blue Room, and on top of another ADS supporting that very same position.
Unfortunately for Oxygen, they cannot find the angles right now to affect Mirage. Instead, the shoe's been on the other foot. Mirage able to battle back from the downward position, and now Oxygen, they've simply been stuck outside of the site in the cold for now, trying to find anything to try and propel themselves forward as they'll shift down to the bottom of main stairs. Newers will be here inside of Oil Pit, trying to collapse on the back end of Blue. He'll have an opportunity, but Benji will actually go down as he gets hit from the Yokai. He'll clean that up. That's going to be the Jaeger down in front of him and finally dusted after Foxay will pick it up. Marmalade with one, but Fox will be able to trade that out as well. Case currently in Dream's hands as they're going to try and find some safe space in order to put this down. Dream with a beautiful find, though, and this is all of a sudden looking like an Oxygen's round as they've been able to flood
Melted,
in towards
got that cut.
Church. He can't get it. Melted simply can't land the shot on Black Box, and Oxygen get out of this.
Oxygen just barely sneaking by there as Marm and a few other members of Mirage fight their hearts out to try and trade in that chaotic situation. Does not work out, though. OXG has far too many facets playing into their execute, way too many angles to deal with at once, so Mirage is overwhelmed, and unfortunately that last member of the team unable to get that single headshot off that would have been needed to clutch it out doesn't go that way, and instead Oxygen excel by taking the first round.
You have got to hate that for Mirage there. So very close as Melted to being able to seal the deal, but just not able to land those critical shots and gives Oxygen the round. Now looking at round 2, Mirage are going to shift gears here away from the basement. They're headed up towards gym and bedroom. Fantastic sight when it comes to Clubhouse, this as well as CCTV, usually the audibles that we see called from the basement. And honestly, usually we see CCTV first. A little bit of a tongue twister there. But instead, for Mirage, they're going to head over towards gym and bedroom. And not only that, they're going to bring one of the funnest operators to bring for this site in the likes of Frost.
All right, so once again, folks, don't mind too much the audio as well there. That is not you. That is something we are probably going to fix as soon as we can here, as you can still hear the announcer, but we've got a bit of a bug right now with regards to the audio cutting out from time to time, so unfortunately he's dealing with that right now. Away from that, though, focusing on the opening action from Oxygen, we are going to start seeing them taking some of that exterior control and getting into position to more than likely try and get the west main area opened up first for themselves to move in towards cash side. And then from there, clear out this extended game before trying to deploy themselves towards the actual site. Benji will be the first player trying to get in the way of this, but of course he'll have to fall back pretty quickly. Can't do much about these Maverick holes getting opened up, and he does have to pay quite a bit of respect to it.
Well, he's going to be able to stay here for some time, especially with this reinforcement to his right-hand side. This is going to actually end up eliminating a lot of the angles that Oxygen could have possibly abused. Just spam the wall and try and get that frag on the door. So for Mirage, they're more than likely going to be able to delay for some time, but it's up to Oxygen and the way they want to try and dissect this site. Easiest way is definitely trying to get that construction cut and see if you can possibly get any of the Mirage members to rotate back into you, but we've seen a lot of teams favoring just all-out aggression when it comes to their clears. They'll try and fight all the players inside of Master. We'll really have to see what Oxygen wants to do, as they're getting underneath now, so we could definitely see some frags coming through with some drones to cover up top.
We're constantly keeping overwatch on a few of the cutoffs here, both by main stairs as well as that hatch drop. In the event that Mirage want to try and do anything a bit sneaky, they've already tried to sneak off a few plays on that basement hold, and even that's a bit aggressive there, given the way that we normally see teams play into that position. Thankfully, though, it'll all work out here for Mirage, as Razor is able to swing towards that hatch and catch Foxay of all players. Laxing nearly knocked out as well, and then Razor with a bit of a dodgy transition. He makes it, though, across the open window and over to the other side of the bedroom, where he's more than likely going to camp out here for the next minute or so, as the rest of Mirage try to fend off the push from Oxygen, which is trying to broil in from the outside of the jacuzzi balk.
I believe we've got the jacuzzi open now, if I did end up catching that. Nades out for Newers. Nobody in the vicinity except for Thomas that was just near main stairs, but he's going to fall back into sight as well. Melted will hold on to the bathroom with Marmalade looking over logistics. Benji making sure that no one's going to try and collapse from the cash side either. So Mirage are set up, game plan ready to go, but now Razor will get at least downed by a frag grenade. Newers has nothing else to add to this equation either, so he's going to get picked back up and will have 20 HP going forward.
So for Mirage, things continue to look promising. That is, of course, until we see Benji get down, and Nurse is going to be able to carry it forward. Not just the first pickup, but a second as well. Laxing now taking out Razor as well. What is happening? 2 rounds in a row now, where OXG suddenly change up their own fate. Vertical's going to try to go for kill number 4 here, as he's got an angle lined up inside of the bathroom, but hasn't had the confidence to throw that nade in just yet. Marm and Melted are the two still standing from Mirage, trying to fight this back, and Melted starts us off well with his trade onto Vertical. Marm gets another one going, but Laxing will trade onto Melted, leaving Marm by herself inside of the 1v2 here. She's got the cutoff established, though, just as a transition all the way over through construction. She might not be able to make it in time, though. This plant's not going to be stopped. Laxing is down as well. Oh, what a clutch from Dream, as he's too quick on the trigger, and the round goes to OXG instead.
That is exactly what you want out of your support player. He immediately identifies that his friend's been down by a frost mat, jumps off the case and takes the gunfight with Marm. But oh my, those mechanics from Marmalade, that was disgusting up against Newers on the main stairs. Auction, though, will still get the round after Dream is able to secure.
So OXG stand tall and stand strong inside of these first 2 rounds of play, but for Mirage, Things unfortunately faltering in those dying moments of both round number 1 and 2, where it seemed like they had control, and as we saw there, even picked up the opening kill, but a whole volley of frags suddenly goes the other direction. Over towards the auction side of things, with both Laxing as well as Newers picking up 3 kills to change up the fate of OXG and give them instead the play and the capability to kind of dictate the state of how that execute would go, forcing Mirage into a corner where unfortunately they could not sustain despite a great attempt at a clutch from Marmalade.
Man, just looking at Oxygen's play, that last round especially, it just seemed like there really wasn't anything going on. But then all of a sudden, this last minute, there's just a spark that happens in the basement. Newers gets 1, Newers gets 2, and then all of a sudden Laxing gets a kill as well. Out of thin air, Mirage's entire defensive strategy is blown sky high, and they have no chance to really try and adapt and make anything happen. Marm gives them an opportunity, but just too little too late at the end of the day. And, I mean, Oxygen so far this entire stage have looked so very stellar, especially when it comes to Vertical. I mean, Vertical 0-2 at the moment, but he has the highest rating in the entirety of the NAL at a 1.55.
So for OXG, as they continue to look for more paths forward here, going to try and pull off the same thing as they work themselves into what should be a little bit more of an easier time clearing out this jacuzzi balcony. As obviously you guys can see, it's only Thomas' position on this side of the map this time, as now this becomes the extended play, and obviously the other side of the map has become the site. But we've already seen that main balcony being opened up here by one of the members of Auction. So step 1, well completed, despite us just crossing the first minute threshold. And over this next 30 to 40 seconds, it looks like the majority of Oxygen is going to be focusing on trying to take construction control away from Mirage here.
Yep, usual first step when it comes to a CCTV offense. Get CCTV wall open. And then from that point, you can really do whatever you want. Do you want to take garage? You want to take construction side? What's the next step for your team? For Oxygen, in the current moment, it's the west clear, like John was talking about. They're going to be pushing towards construction and trying to deal with the single panel here for the cash wall. There could be a lot of back and forth here, though, especially with Melted in the wings with those smoke canisters. Tommy playing contact as of now on green box, and this could obviously push people down towards Razor's position as well, because they're more than likely going to want to try and clear out this area from a bunch of different angles.
Things continue to look relatively passive for both teams. Mirage just starting to use some of their toxic babes. That first one already come out from Melted to try and restrict the construction presence. Seems to have worked out pretty well, despite an opening, I believe, being made on the wall. And a well-placed nade coming out there from Vertical, being supported, I believe, by a drone from Laxing in the back end of that staircase. Knocks out the first member of Mirage and gives the opening kill of the round over to OXG. Foxay seems to be throwing in another one. And oh, that's going to land perfectly through the wall as well. Vertical gets yet another entry. Thomas, we the only one from Mirage able to respond so far in this round, but Dream already halfway through the plan. It doesn't seem like it's going to matter much, as now Newers takes out Thomas and leaves Razor alone. Not even on the same floor as this play either. Good pre-fire going onto the balcony here, but the retake is nearly impossible for him now that he's been revealed. You can see those tracers as he goes down. No hope of getting himself
for him in the near future, because Mirage desperately need it. The rest of the team not really able to do all too much. In fact, Razor, Melted, and Thomas all collectively equal Marmalade's kills.
We are going to see Marmalade continue to excel as the top fragger at the moment here for Mirage. Unfortunately, it's a very limited effect. It's still only 3-3, and despite some close attempts in the near clutch on the first upstairs hold, it is all for naught, as they are not able to translate them into any winnable rounds just yet. For the OXG camp, though, going to be a little bit of a different flavor this time in terms of their operator lineup. Possibly a few repicks coming in there when they see what the setup looks like. The most notable ones is going to be the IQ from Laxing, and of course the Ying coming in from Foxays. They'll try to add a little bit more pressure to this execute, but it might not be needed. Newers once again starting off the round brilliantly here with the opening pick against Tommy.
Listen, Benji, I completely agree. I would run for the hills as well. The boogeyman has entered the building, and you do not want to mess with this man when he has Finka's LMG. That thing is practically a free kill anytime you aim it at somebody. Impacts out to prevent the hatch, and yeah, as you said, very close there, John, for Benji to possibly get a kill there, but fortunately enough for our player from Oxygen, there happens to be some kitchen cabinets.
Yeah, the bullets don't end up lining up too well there.
Gotta get something bigger than a 9mm, man. You're never going to penetrate those kitchen cabinets with that 9mm.
Either way, so good attempts to be able to line that up, and it does not pan out too well. as we see OXG able to clear themselves in, and now they'll work on opening up that kitchen hatch for themselves over the next 20 to 30 seconds here. Away from that, in fact, actually looks like the hatch already has been opened, so good job from OXG proceeding without much issue here. And in all honesty, they could probably go for the actual site take at some point in the next 30 seconds or so. They have every position possible. Didn't catch this, though. There is still a player roaming upstairs in cash. They might want to deal with that, as Razor is going to be trying to cause some problems from up there, but it doesn't seem OXG are thinking too much about that right now, as they seem pretty heavily focused on this kitchen hatch drop.
It could possibly not matter. We'll have to see. Foxy's going to drop in right off the Candela. Does he know that there's a player AK? They definitely do. Vertical's going to get two. Benji and Melted both go down. Razor now forced back towards blue as Dream puts his plant down. Every Oxygen member still alive. Razor trying to change that, but he does have Marmalade as well to try and assist. Not a single one of those smoke canisters used as of yet either, as a frag grenade pours into Razor. He's going to panic and quickly get on the cams, though. Takes a little bit of damage, and now Marmalade up to bat. Smoke grenade out, has one inside of the hallway that she has to worry about as well, as Razor continues to challenge from blue. Oxygen with a fantastic overwatch of this, though. Specifically Newers, as he'll take down Marmalade into trade, and Vertical will be able to pick up the last kill. Oxygen looking fantastic through 4 rounds.
It's just too smooth.
There with us. I mean, it would mean the world to all of us here at the NAL.
Right, so for OXG, though, still rocketing towards a quick victory for themselves and a 4-0 lead on the attacking side of Clubhouse. Meanwhile, the Mirage side of things is continuing to look rougher and rougher, as these executes from OXG have only gotten cleaner and more straightforward as the half has gone on. For the Mirage side of things, they have continued to falter and need to bring a big change up to the table that we're going to hope they'll do, considering that they just had their pause, of course. But what exactly will they be bringing to the table? In terms of lineup, nothing too surprising here, and the same can be said for the overall setup, as they're going to go for a pretty default upstairs bedroom hold.
You can say that about both of these teams. This is exactly what you're used to seeing when it comes to this site, again, as well as a Clubhouse.
It's Clubhouse. So
yeah,
it's
exactly.
Like, you know.
Like how, it's like what you said earlier when we were casting Oregon. How far out of line can you possibly go? You know what I mean? Like, there's nothing, unless you want to bring, like, I don't know, unless you want to bring Fuse. Basically, I guess you'd have my attention then.
Basically, between this and Oregon, I would not be surprised if either of these maps got removed on the next map change, basically, just because of... We've seen these maps go through the cycle. Are you trying
to tell me that Oregon is a boring map to watch? John.
I mean, I'm not saying it's boring. It's just like there's just not a lot of innovation going on from in the player department right now.
Yeah,
I feel like the devs need to shake things up a little bit, maybe.
I would definitely agree with you. I think that there's definitely some things to be done, but also they've been played so many times, just like Clubhouse, what we're witnessing right now. It would be so ridiculous to try and count the amount of times that I've seen a setup like Mirage's inside of Gym Bedroom. You know what I mean? Like, it's inevitable at this point.
Yeah.
So.
Well, either way, continuing to play through the round, as we were talking about before, not a whole lot to be expected here, as OXG have a little bit of a shopping list to take care of before they can really think about trying to take on any members of Mirage, and they are diligently working on that, as you guys can see. Opening up, actually, it looks like only half of the Maverick hole here, or might have been able to just open up enough for the Malusi, or not Malusi's, excuse me, the Selmas to work, but all 3 of those are still in Dream's pocket, so that was done from Maverick's POV. Another Selma just got thrown out from Dream, not really sure where it ended up landing, unfortunately, as we did have the wall to bathroom electrocuted, so if that was the case, then that one got eaten up real quick. And aside from that, it looks like OXG are going to take a step back once again to try and deal with more of this utility laxing, trying to sneak in this drone. And meanwhile, Stokes noticed it. We're seeing it now, too. Newers waltzing right up, swinging the corner on Marm and knocking her out. Foxay gets another one. Melted will be able to sustain inside of the bathroom, but fails on the trade. Dream, laxing, and Foxay just get 3 easy kills to shut it down. And it's yet another round going directly into the pockets of OXG as they continue to dominate, now with a 5-0 lead over Mirage.
That right there shows you why every pro player has been talking about Finka. Just imagine trying to gunfight that LMG with the amount of damage that it does to you. That is a 3 armor, by the way, that ends up just being blown sky high. Like, there's really nothing you can do inside of that situation minus get the headshot on Newers. And past that, you're literally gunfighting Newers. And apparently, Newers got terrified.
He didn't even know she was there.
I mean, oh my goodness. It's just, especially for Oxygen, I love the way that they play that round, because you just see Newers slowly creeping forward. He moves in down low once they get the wall open. He stands inside of stalls and waits. He waits to see what Mirage's next move is going to be. Oxygen's like, okay, we can start giving Newers some more rope downstairs. He moves up main stairs, and as soon as he gets up to that barbed wire, everyone attacks at once. Frag grenade out. We have Newers pushing in through Logi. Nobody to cover. He wins the initial gunfight and immediately can re-challenge into the site. Mirage have already lost 2 members. They're scrambling. They're trying to figure it out. But there's no way that they're going to be able to come back from that when Oxygen have already done so much in a split second.
You guys saw the poll as well. Looks like you finally got one right as we saw that question going out. Will Dream clap his former team today? I think it was 87% of you saying yes to that, and it's looking like so far you're correct. I don't want to count Mirage out of it just yet, although things are looking quite bleak right now. Some teams can be saved by that halftime switch, so we'll hold our breath until we see how those first few rounds get played out there. Might not even get past the first few, though, with the way OXG are playing. They're looking to try and quickly secure a perfect half, what would be 6-0, but Mirage are also going to break their site rotation chain and go back down to the basement for the third time here, hoping that they'll have better results on this final hold.
Newers is walking around this building like he literally owns this place. Like, he's no care in the world. There's a drone roller across secret. He's like, garage is clear. I'm just going to go in here and continue on carrying this banner of OXG. And, I mean, what a banner it is so far. 5-0 up against Mirage and such a dominant showing here on Clubhouse. And it's not like Mirage haven't fought back either. A lot of these strategies are something that can definitely work up against what Oxygen have been doing. But it's just been a team diff time and time again inside of these rounds. And some moments where Mirage have the ability to clutch, but just simply cannot get it to go off. So Oxygen continuing on their trek here to get these hatches open and see if they can possibly collect a perfect side.
Do have some pings ringing out as well from one of the teams. Not able to see where exactly that's coming in from, but certainly trying to ascertain some intel as OXG finally seem to have finished clearing out that second floor and can now put their full focus on the basement assault with still half the round to go. So once again, proceeding quite well in terms of opening all this up with a lot of extra time. They're a bit further behind from the last assault, but still should be able to open things up with plenty of excess time, especially with that dealing with the electric claw that was positioned over the kitchen hatch. Shouldn't have too much in terms of delay for opening this one up. There we go. Both the Selmas are deployed. That's going to pop that right open, and here we go. OXG is primed and ready for the execute as far as I'm concerned, but a nice shot from Razor. The top-down angle is a little bit too obvious here, and he's able to find Dream through that, dropping the case temporarily.
Fantastic positioning now for Mirage as they'll get Razor back inside of dirt, so he'll be able to help with the drop at a moment's notice. Benji will get his first kill of the game as well, and it could not come soon enough. Oxygen now, finally worse for wear, as they'll lose Newers and Dream. The two new pickups have been plaguing the entirety of the NAL so far this stage, as they just seem indomitable. Fox8 seeing if he can possibly change their graces here inside of this round, but it's going to require a lot in order to change this fate, especially as they continue to bleed bodies. Another one picked up here from Tommy with a fantastic angle. Fox8, he can't get the second gunfight. Marmalade will win it instead. Laxi knows one's inside of Dirty, knows one's inside of Blue, but does he actually have it with the amount of time that he has left? 10 seconds remaining, no case control, as you said, in the cross being covered from Razor, who was just simply waiting even deeper inside of dirt for a mistake to come from Oxygen, and finally Mirage will get their round.
Yeah, and a definitive one at that. Mirage putting much better pressure on that kitchen hatch this time. In fact, getting 2 kills through the hatch itself before OXG was even able to drop, and by the time they could drop, it was really only Laxing left alive at that point, so a much better hold from Mirage. Unfortunately, it comes at the very bitter end of that half, so it's only going to be that one translatable round that they piece together. OXG still have a massive advantage as now they jump onto the defensive side, and we head into yet another basement hold for them as they try to put themselves up on map point with their first defense.
All right, well, what's going to be the change-up? What is Oxygen doing that Mirage was not? The biggest thing right now is obviously Fox8 bringing in the Legion. This is going to add another set of impacts, as well as just overall a pretty middle-of-the-road op. You can toss Legion into literally any lineup, and it's going to work. It's just how the op is. So with the goo mines especially, they'll be able to get some extra insight around the entry points, but more than likely really up to these impacts as they'll try and delay as long as possible when it comes to this hatch.
10 seconds left before insertion.
So we're going to continue to see OXG deploy themselves to this upstairs hold, and actually to a pretty hefty extent, it looks like.
We're paying so much attention to kitchen, and we didn't even get to see this side of the map. Yeah, exactly. The entirety of Oxygen is currently out of the site, all except for, I believe, Laxing. But actually, no, he is too. He's on the main stairs, so nobody home, but finally Oxygen will clamber back in.
Yeah, drones seem to have sussed out some of this play from the guys on Oxygen, most notably Foxy trying to lurk himself over towards strip side there. He gets spotted by a drone, so he turns tail. He doesn't go all the way back down, though. In fact, it looks like he's going up as he's going to try to maintain positioning over here by the main stairs. And Newers ready to take a battle, connecting some shots onto Benji, but also taking pretty much just the same amount in return here. An even exchange, but neither player goes down here as Newers chucking the impact out. Maybe trying to see if Benji was still lurking around, but not going to be the case, as you guys could see.
I'm just trying to make him sweat just a little bit. Melted's going to get taken down. I don't exactly know how that went down, but, I mean, Tommy's at least going to be able to get newers as he seemingly unaware of a member around the area. I wonder if Vertical is the one that was able to take down the other member, but either way, we're at least going to reach equal footing here as it's a 4 versus 4. Oxygen much more aggressive on their defense.
Yeah, it might have ended up being Vertical, potentially getting that pick and then falling back through the hatch and then rotating up through Oil to get the other trade. But
such a weird position.
Yeah, it is hard to like see, like, can he actually get there that
exactly
quickly?
Or like how are you down by the stock door? I don't know.
Yeah, that's why I was thinking maybe drop the hatch, but either way, we are going to see the team from Mirage continue to work their way in and take as much control leading over towards blue side as possible. No straightforward route to get themselves into the site just yet, though, and OXG continue to maintain most of the map control. That includes, I believe, the upstairs position still. Let's get another look at that, and actually I'll correct myself. No, every single member of OXG has retreated from their extended positions after they got that opening kill, and they're now just playing into the usual bunker down here.
We'll have to see what Mirage can do now. They have drones to be able to suss out a lot of these positions that Oxygen have now adopted. Seeing when Mirage will make their next move. Still have plenty of hard breach to be able to access a lot of these hard-to-reach places, getting rid of these hatches and giving them some more access to the site, but Laxing is more than likely standing in that path with these Electro Claws. Speaking of Electro Claws, it's exactly what's gone down on the kitchen hatch, so that'll be locked up for a time. They'll at least be able to get bar hatch here and potentially drop into Moto. They have blue hatch open as well, so they've got a makeshift pinch going on for Church if they so choose, but with the Oxygen, well, staff standing over towards the north side now. There's just so many crosses to worry about for MRG.
Benji with the lean. He's got the hard ping for it as well. Doesn't have the confidence for the full swing, though, so he's not going to be able to commit to this one. OXG stays strong, and now Vertical establishes the cutoff from, man, Benji doesn't even know where this is coming from. It's inside of the hallway, of course, as you guys can see from the silhouettes, but it's just so rough right now. Vertical with another one. Benji still trying to get this opening kill, but that's it. He's the only one left suddenly, and he goes down. Vertical, picking up one more frag as OXG tear it to pieces and sit only one more round away from closing out the map.
It was like I was saying, once you get those crosses established inside of Armory, once that push comes through from blue, it's just way too many gunfights, especially for the positions that you could possibly be. I mean, through these highlights, guys, look at how many potential spots they could have been whenever they do end up showing those. But, I mean, it's just immense what Oxygen are able to throw at Mirage because, I mean, what's your answer to that? There's really nothing you can do. You can just try and hope that the gunfights potentially go your way, but we saw how that went for Benji. I mean, he is letting the chopper sing. There are so many bullets flying out of that LMG, and not a single one of them can hit an Oxygen member.
Just couldn't kill that player behind the white boxes there inside of Arsenal, so held back the rest of the execute, and I mean, Vertical's just sitting over there. I think he was actually Church, to correct myself as well from something I said in the middle of that cast, but either way, just peppering out shots one by one and knocking down players in the process. No one else from Mirage able to change up the fate, and largely because we can't see anyone get any sort of entry going here for the Mirage roster, and of course, they were already working with a player down from the very beginning of that round.
Yep, absolutely. And now Mirage sit on the precipice of a loss up against Oxygen, who would be 4-0 in the NAL. A perfect 2 weeks to start us off here for stage one.
They've actually, sorry to interrupt. They've got a pretty cool stat line coming into this too. Maverick on Twitter just pointed this out to me. Oxygen have won a game 7-4, 7-3, 7-2, and if they win this one on this round, it'll be a 7-1. So they're going for they're getting better and better, it seems, as the games go on.
That's some bad juju, man. Too many consecutive numbers.
I might have just jinxed it by saying it out loud.
I have to get some sage out and just like bless the whole room after that, John. I don't know what kind of forces we're dealing with here, but well, as of right now, Mirage, speaking of force, attempting to force open the CCTV wall. It's going to be Melted's job with this torch as we begin doing exactly that. The top line first, and then in comes the bottom so that Benji can assist him and hopefully not dying getting this breach open.
So Mirage continuing to look for an opening opportunity to excel themselves forward, make the scoreline a little bit more competitive here, and at a best-case scenario, run it back with 5 rounds straight to push them into OT. That's a tough ask, given the way this game has been played out so far, and the seeming domination that's been rolling in from Oxygen. Thomas, of course, going to be trying to sneak in all these Terror drones, and that's going to take out a nice, healthy amount of utility, at least one magnet, on top of the deployable shield going away. So good value for utility there, and of course, still 2 more to be deployed by Thomas at his leisure.
Okay, well, with this lineup for Mirage, I mean, this could go, extremely, extremely well for them, especially given the fact that Razor's on Capitao. I love this pickup for them because they're actually going to be able to do something about this Raptors player. Speaking of doing something about a Raptors player, you need to do something about Laxing. He's inside of the garage, he's able to tag up Melted, and then he just immediately skimpers off. He does not want to try and risk that positioning.
Still helping out his boy Foxy, of course, here as he's going to continue to hold the
the oil pit position.
Mirage. Laxing going very, very risky with this one now. Moving in here, trying to see if he can maybe establish a cutoff here, as well as deal with any potential utility that would have been thrown in there. Not too much to spot in that department. Fox actually opening up a line of sight from down below in the event that he goes down here. Flash is being eaten up, but unfortunately the magnet sits directly in front of him, so he's still going to be affected by it. We will see, however, Razor trying to commit himself to the inside. Laxing not able to contribute just yet. Foxy being burned out of position, but he gets a kill in the process. So 1 for 1, but an impressive trade that comes out from Foxy in the process. And mind you, Laxing still waiting in the wings by the oil pit. They seem to have some idea that he's down here, but not from that side. Laxing takes down another member of this squad, tries to go for 2, but he'll be knocked out by Marm.
The damage is already done, though. Mirage, and they're going to have at least some opportunity to try and get a plant down. And yes, they have the cross, but look, Dream still has 3 smokes, and there's 30 seconds remaining.
He can wait his entire timer.
They can waste all of the time with those smokes. They have nitro cells. They have impacts. They have everything you could possibly want on your defense in order to win this round. They need to get this wall open and start attempting these plants. They have to bait out some form of utility. Benji starts to push forward. So is Marmalade. She's trying to take gunfights here. The plant starts to go down. Melted taking some serious damage, but so is Marm. She recommits to the plant. Benji picks up 1. Vertical gets taken down. Laxing's already down. Now it's up to Newers to try and win this. Into the post plant now, and they at least have the cross here for top red. They'll move back out onto plat. He's got 1 to his right here, potentially 2, but it's Marm with the prone angle. No one expects the snake on the ground, and Marm gets the kill.
Marm with some big plays in the middle of that round. A very important trade being picked up versus Laxing to prevent him from completely stopping the execution from going off and then shutting down the final stragglers trying to retake after the plant goes down as well. Beautiful work from Mirage, and for Oxygen, a big slip up as that round was seemingly in the palm of their hands. We had talked about it. All 3 toxic babes were available as of the 20-second marker on the clock, but they could still not hold back the execute as Mirage brute force their way in and finally pick up a second round.
So impressive for Mirage. It took a lot of effort to win out that round, especially with just, I mean, the hellscape that was CCTV.
Dude, we've had some crazy gunfights in this game.
Absolutely.
That was one of them.
And not only that, but also just the utility as well as the gunfights inside of that round. I mean, we have, oh my goodness gracious, my brain is turning off in the moment.
Foxy burned out of the corner.
It was literally Foxy just swinging off rafters through the fire and flames, kills the man, still stays alive, dies to the guy downstairs. Laxing refrags through oil pit. They take garage. There's so many smokes inside of CCTV, you can't even see a damn thing, and they're still trying to fight people. I mean, that round right there, that's honestly almost how you expect every Clubhouse round to go. It's pure chaos.
Chaos dictating the state of play here. Oxygen's going to have to try to get some control over it. Thankfully, they have 4 rounds to do so.
I'm disappointed in you.
Why?
Because you didn't say chaos is a ladder.
Oh, yeah, I'm saving that one.
I just spoiled it.
Yeah, I'm saving that one for a major or something. So
that's on me.
We'll wait on that. But either way, Mirage working their way forward. Going to probably open things up here on the main balcony first and continue to proceed from that point forward. As there's still a lot to clear out in this department, as they'll have to work their way across the map. Vertical, Foxy, and to some extent yours are going to try to get in the way of this clear.
Yes, indeed. And now for Marm, it's onto the CCTV wall. Try and break this up, and Benji breaks up Vertical. A beautiful shot. He'll take down the disc wielder as he'll get the CCTV wall open.
We'll see. Beautiful start indeed for the members of Mirage. Once again, that opening kill, and definitely no room to trade that back either. As now no one really in a position to try and put pressure against this garage take. So OXG will just have to take the L on the 5v4 and play out the rest of the round with that in consideration. That also means that the entire position here towards Cash is going to be given up outright here, as Mirage will get a little bit of a boost to their time bank in the fact that they're not going to have to waste that 30 to 40 seconds we normally see teams trying to use there to get the player in Cash out.
So much time off of this clock now. Oxygen, obviously worse for wear, backing Vertical here, but so many opportunities for them to fight back, especially with some more slow-moving offense from Mirage. About halfway through the round now, but ready to dedicate a lot of these Rotero drones around the area and try and get rid of some of these deployable shields and other pieces of utility around the space. Dream will be occupying bathroom for a time, with Razor now trying to shift things along outside. We also have Foxy in a pretty interesting position. This is always a pretty awesome spot to play around if you're trying to deal with people inside of logistics. You can always catch them off guard with a nice nitro cell to the ceiling of kitchen that just catches that dropping player. So Foxy doesn't seem to want to go for that. Instead, he's going to go for an even deeper roam here. He's going to pop the kitchen hatch, drop downstairs, and he's actually got the potential to catch off Tomas.
Tomas waiting, might hear the footsteps though as he creeps out.
Oh,
no,
no,
they have no idea that Tomas is even playing here. Foxay gives it away to Tomas. He picks up another kill, and the 5v3 advantage is maintained here as Mirage is going to be ready for the execute, and Nate going right in Anur's face. He won't be able to do anything about that. Dream though with the double, making a triple as he knocks out Tomas, bringing it down to just 2 players alive here for Mirage. Dream ready to take on even more challengers. He can see it. There's the assist from Lexican. Dream shuts down the last one. A massive round from Oxygen, and they take the map.
That was absolutely insane. That was 3 kills from a single magazine of the SMG-11. Folks, that gun has 16 bullets. There's only 16 bullets in the gun. How do you kill 3 people? Oh.